Welcome back to the Daily Mastermind. George Wright III here with your daily dose of inspiration, motivation, and education. I want to share some thoughts with you today that I hope might help you, and it may not apply to everyone, but I have a feeling that most people fall into this problem. And that's the problem of worry. You know, Napoleon Hill talks about the negativity that surrounds worrying. But I think many of us in our life have had times when we've felt that worry about the future and the anxiety that we may have, or worried about what other people think. And you know, what I want to do today is I want to talk to you about how to stop worrying about what other people think, because this is a huge problem. This is a problem for people in their life, in their business, and their relationships, and their communication. We interpret what people are thinking. We try to read their minds, and none of us are mind readers. And it's time to stop worrying about what others think. And I've talked about this before on the podcast, and I know it's a topic that most people are aware of, but we don't really think about it, and we really don't try to come up with strategies to eliminate worry, because when you're in that mode of worry, it's hard to get out of it, right? So I want you to ask yourself a couple of questions. Do you find that you're afraid to say what you really think at times? You know, are you constantly thinking that people might be upset with you, and they really aren't upset with you? Or have you had times that you worried people thought a certain way and found out that they didn't? You know, do you do things that you don't really want to do, and then you end up regretting doing it afterwards? Or maybe you find it really hard to do something different because you don't want to get outside of your comfort zone. And then getting outside of your comfort zone, we know, is what's going to help you to get growth and success and happiness, but you're afraid to do that. And maybe you find that you avoid certain people in your life or certain situations because it scares you. You avoid talking to people, you avoid meeting people, you avoid trying new experiences. Or maybe you just do what everybody else tells you to do all the time, and you find it really hard to stick up for yourself or make decisions. Look, these are all examples or signs that you worry too much. And I know that most people that are aware of this know that they're aware of it. They just are too afraid to do something about it. And so I want to talk to you about a few steps. And you know, I've talked about this before on the podcast, but I want to give you some ideas on how you can stop worrying so much in your life and start living your life in a more fulfilling, productive way. The first thing is if you just stop and ask yourself and think about the fact, why do you care what people think? I think that we're being conditioned in society through social media and everything right now to care what people think. We're being conditioned that way, and just the awareness and stopping to ask yourself why you care. A lot of times we're afraid to do things in situations where we'll never see those people again in our life, or most of those people, don't care about what our problems are either. My son Jaron did a small podcast because he's been really into fitness lately, and he's 15 years old, so I was really impressed with his response to this. But people asked him if he was nervous or kind of scared to go into the gym, knowing that he was kind of, younger and things like that. And he said, no. He said, most people worry about that, and that's why they don't go work out, they don't go to the gym. And what they don't realize is everybody is feeling the exact same way. Everyone's worried about their own stuff. They're not worried about you. And so the sooner you realize that, the sooner you realize that you don't need to worry so much about what other people think. Another thing you can do in order to stop worrying so much is just get yourself grounded in the present moment. Sometimes it takes a distraction to stop, to get out that frame of thinking that you have. But it's all about grounding yourself in the present moment. That's why we talk about mindfulness and awareness, because when you can become grounded in the present moment, you're not worrying about the future. You're not anxious about things that have already happened. You're not trying to interpret what other people are thinking. You're just being the best version of yourself in the moment. Another thing you can do is just, practice a little more self-love and acceptance. Now, I realize that this whole conversation about self-confidence and self-esteem, like I brought up in our mastermind live the other day, is so important. And there's a lot of strategies you can do to increase your self-confidence and self-esteem. Meditation, fitness, eating right, focusing on you. But what I'm talking about here is when you practice a little more self-love and acceptance, you don't worry so much about the impression that you're giving out there, or whether you make mistakes or you look foolish or people think you may not be as smart or as productive or as successful or as good looking or dresses well. You start to realize that you can give yourself a little bit more leeway and self-acceptance and love. And that's an important quality to have, because it's really hard to create love in your life if you don't love yourself first, right? Another thing you can do to stop worrying so much is find people to associate with. This is back to this: surround yourself with positive, happy, similar people. People that think like you, people that are accepting. Surround yourself with these positive people that are willing to stretch you without judging you. And when you surround yourself with the right people, you'll get the validation, you'll have honesty, you'll have sincerity, and you'll have common goals. And so you'll be working in those areas outside your comfort zone that you don't like to be in, but you'll be doing it with other people. And that support structure is huge. Another thing you can do to stop worrying so much is understand that you can't please everyone. Just accept that. Just accept the fact you are not going to please everyone, and it's better to be loved by a few than liked by everybody. Let me say that again. It's better to be loved by a few than liked by everyone. So many of us are trying to make everyone happy, and we're never going to accomplish that task. It's like an impossible task, right? So, you're going to have critics. And you got to think of it from a different perspective. Criticism is the price of success. There's never been an extremely successful, productive, fulfilled person that hasn't had criticism or critics, because you have to be doing things you're not good at, outside your comfort zone, outside your skill sets and your abilities, in order to truly be happy, fulfilled, and successful. So just understand you can't please everyone. And obviously, most importantly, I think, and this sometimes it's obvious, but you just remind yourself of this, just know that life is too short to worry about things. Life is too short. Life is short, so make the most of it. Don't waste your time focused on the criticism of other people. It's just not worth the time with the amount of time you have on this earth. So the bottom line is this: I want you to learn to create more unshakable self-confidence and self-awareness so that you can stop worrying. You can stop worrying about things in your life. Learn to value the few things. Learn to value learning, right? And when you value learning, you don't fear failure. When you know that you have the ability, it's like Wayne Dyer says, if you've always had the ability to overcome things in your life, and if you're still here, then you have, then just tell yourself, maybe you're not smart enough, you're not talented enough, you're not good enough to be able to do what you want to do, but you know you're never going to give up, and you know that you'll find a way. And when you can have confidence in your ability, then you don't have to have confidence in the results. And that's a huge, huge, huge trait to be able to have if you want to be successful. Anyway, I've seen a lot of people lately struggling with this idea of worrying about things and anxiety for the future and uncertainty. And just understand, Tony Robbins and my partner Robert Stuberg have said in business and personal development, we all need uncertainty. It's one of our 6 human conditions, but we also crave certainty. So just understand that we need both. And having uncertainty is okay as long as you know your direction, yourself, patient, and you're grateful for what you have. And if you do that, and if you focus on not everything outside you, but on your own personal growth, you're going to find you're going to worry less, you're going to be anxious less, and you're going to start focusing on the most important things. Anyway, that's my message for today. I hope you have an amazing day. I hope that's something that'll get you some food for thought, and I look forward to talking with you more tomorrow. This has been the Daily Mastermind. Have an amazing night.